So we're off to start. Hey Danielle, can you hear me all right? I'm muted. Hey Danielle, hi. I know you cannot see me or you cannot see our public here in Istanbul, but we can see you very well and we can hear you. And yeah, very happy to have you here at Contemporary Istanbul Digital Horizons. Welcome, this is Danielle King from ClubNFT, the COO and CFO. And myself, Maryna Rybakova, I follow special projects at Mogda, the organization that curated the conference. And I happen to run a marketplace that deals in contemporary art and NFTs. And today with Danielle, we're going to have a chat on marketplaces and the different technologies that can enhance the user experience on the collector side of the buying and selling and reselling. So very excited.
I'm excited too. It's great to be here. I wish I was there in person. I actually went on my honeymoon to Istanbul. It's such a great city. I wish I could have come, but it's nice to join you virtually.
Amazing. So getting right into it, as a museum at Mogda, we collaborate with numerous marketplaces that run on numerous blockchains and utilize different technologies such as super rare, known origin, and multiple others. And earlier today we've had blockchains such as Tezos present their frameworks, and sort of we discovered a variety of different actors in the space. But my question to you is, along with all of that, where does ClubNFT come and play, and what exactly is it that you do in terms of helping secure the collections?
Sure, yeah, that's a great question. So essentially, ClubNFT is a club for collectors, and we view our mission sort of threefold. First, we want to help protect folks, and in that vein, we have a backup download solution so that collectors can have a backup of all of their NFTs. Right now, we have that for collectors with ETH wallets, and we're going to be rolling it out for collectors with Tezos wallets. So that's one aspect, the sort of protection. We also aim to educate collectors, so that the first thing, which you may have heard of, is we have a magazine called Right Click Save, which has criticism and discussion about art on the blockchain. We've had a lot of amazing writers contribute to that magazine and really help, I think, elevate the discourse around NFTs. I think, the quote traditional art world hasn't fully embraced, the digital art movement yet, and with Right Click Save, we're really trying to put a spotlight on it. So that's one part of our sort of education side. Another part that we're working on right now is developing some educational videos to help collectors navigate the space and sort of teach them best practices. I know when I came into the world of collecting, it was so overwhelming. There was so much I didn't know. I made a lot of mistakes. So we are putting together a series of videos. Art Gnome, Jason Bailey, our founder, is working on those with our CTO, Chris King. And then the last part, which is in sort of early stages right now, is helping collectors discover new works. So, there's so many marketplaces out there. You just named a handful of them, but there are tons of them. And it can be very hard as a collector to find things that appeal to you. It can be overwhelming. You don't know where to start. You may have a certain set of works that you've collected or a certain set of artists that you've collected, but you're looking for more things that are sort of in that vein. So we're working on discovery tools that will help surface those things for people. So yeah, that kind of in a nutshell is what we're working on at ClubNFT. And essentially, was founded by Art Gnome, who, as a lot of folks know, is a big, an early collector. And he sort of saw a lot of these needs out there in the space and decided to start a company to help fill those needs. So yeah, it's really exciting. I am having a lot of fun with it, especially as someone who has a background in the more traditional art world. I've been learning a lot, and having a really great time doing it too.
Yeah, you mentioned Jason Belly, the co-founder of ClubNFT, and as he would be called or named in the crypto jargon, and we learned lots of new words today at the conference.
I hope that answers your question. It was a long answer.
As I was saying, Jason Belly, who you mentioned, is a co-founder at ArtGnome. He is actually what you may call, in the crypto jargon, the OG. And that says a lot. So the original gangster and a very, very early adopter of digital tools in the art space in general. So coming from such solid background, both in traditional art world and being an early pioneer of the space, you must have a unique approach to the technology. So we're at a very early stage of this conversation here at Contemporary Istanbul because it is a contemporary art fair. If you see the exhibition, you see there's lots of painting, sculpture, and traditional media. So if you could just maybe elaborate on what IPFS is and how ClubNFT sort of addresses that, and what is the unique feature of the technology you're offering?
Sure, yeah. Now, keep in mind, I am not a tech person. I'm a finance and art person, but my understanding of sort of how NFT art works is, everybody thinks, oh, well, it's on the blockchain, it's safe, it's permanent, and the token is, right? The token is stored on the blockchain. But for most NFT art that you purchase, the actual media associated with that piece that you bought is not stored on the blockchain. They're, JPEGs or video files or whatever the media is generally too large to be stored on the blockchain. There are some exceptions to that, but in most cases, it's stored somewhere else. And a lot of times that is stored or pinned to IPFS, which we think is a good practice. I don't think I have the technological background to really describe well what IPFS is, but basically it's where the media can live and safely be stored. The problem with that system is oftentimes, in a lot of cases, the marketplace you bought the work from is the one that's paying to store that media on IPFS, which is fine as long as that marketplace stays in business and continues to pay for that storage. If they go out of business, which various marketplaces have, then nobody's paying for that storage and it becomes unpinned from IPFS. So then basically you still have this token on the blockchain showing that you purchased the work, but it's not pointing to anything anymore. The place where the media was stored, the art itself, a JPEG, a video file, sound file, if it's a audio NFT, is gone. So in order to restore that link, you need the actual media files in their exact format stored somewhere. And so that's what we're doing at ClubNFT with our backup download solution, is we are gathering all of those files for you, putting them in a zip file, so you can have it, keep it safe, and if someday one or more of your NFTs goes missing from IPFS, you can restore it yourself. And you'd think that this would be very easy. Well, isn't it as easy as just downloading a JPEG or whatever? But there are often multiple files associated with the NFT. They have to be in a certain format, and it's actually quite complicated and arduous to do it. It's a lot of work. So our tech geniuses at the company have been working for months to figure out a way to get all of this data for folks, put it all together in a sort of neat zip file where everything is there should you need it. And then you kind of just hold on to it, like, put it in a vault and hope nothing ever happens, but you have it just in case. And Jason himself, Arnold himself, has lost NFTs due to marketplaces dissolving and going out of business, and him no longer having those files anymore. So if he wanted to sell something, he has the token, but who's going to buy a token if there's nothing that it points to? If when you click on it, that just, you get an error. So that in a nutshell is sort of what we are working on in terms of that backup product.
Awesome. That's a great example of what you just described, and I'm sure you know many more than I do, that the original Beeple link, because I've heard many people say that the original 69 million sale of the Beeple work at Christie's last year, the link is actually broken, and it sort of takes you nowhere. You get an error message, and that's an illustration of what you just said. So the storage systems and the IPFS is a good practice, but it has some imperfections in the end. So another question would be, what do you think in the long term are the future developments of the marketplaces? Will the marketplaces address these issues in the future? Maybe integrate a service like yours or some extensions of what you're doing into their best practices? Is that what's going to happen?
Yeah, I hope so, and I think so. I mean, we have definitely had conversations with a number of the marketplaces, and they're all really excited about the solution we're building. They see that this is an issue, right? And while they individually hope and think that they'll never go out of business, they do see that it can happen, and they want to make sure that their customers have the files that they need, that they can restore them, and that this art won't essentially disappear. So I can definitely see integrations with our solution. I think that would be amazing. And I do think, marketplaces in general are thinking more and more about, the security and safety around NFTs. In addition to this, IPFS backup issue, there are all kinds of things that can happen in terms of NFTs being, copy minted or, phishing scams. There are lots of things that are of concern to collectors and to artists. And so I think more and more, just the whole community is trying to put some serious thought into these issues and make sure that, everybody is protected as best they can be.
Awesome. I think we have lots of aspirational NFT collectors, or maybe existing NFT collectors in the audience. And I was wondering, if you were to give them a piece of advice, what would it be?
That's a good question. I think I'm probably very close to in a lot of their shoes. I only started collecting NFTs about a year ago. And I had one of the best helpers probably in the world, which is Artisfact, who was the one who sort of held my hand through the process and initiated me. We set up with a wallet, sort of gave me some guidance. I think one of the best things to do, especially if you're already someone who loves art and maybe collects physical art, beyond the technological things, right? You need to get a wallet set up and get some crypto, is look at a marketplace. I, for one, love to collect on the Tezos blockchain. That's my preference. Everybody, some people collect on multiple blockchains, but, start with one. And find a marketplace and just look at the art and see what speaks to you and find things that appeal to you. Once you've found a piece or two or an artist or two that you love, one of the best ways to discover more things that you'll love is see what that artist collects. In this ecosystem, artists tend to be big collectors themselves. So, you can go down a very endless rabbit hole of, you collect an artist, you look in their wallet, it's all transparent, you can see what they collect. Oh, I like that, then you can see what that artist collects. You can also do this with fellow collectors. If there's a collector whose taste that you see is similar to yours, or, you admire their collection, you can see everything they have in their wallet. You can, click through and look at other works by those artists, see what's available. So one of the great things about the blockchain in terms of collecting art as opposed to the traditional art world is it's all out there to see. So you really have a lot of visibility into what folks are doing. And if you have certain folks that you find that have a similar collecting taste to you, you have a lot of data information you can go off of from that. So that's a tip that I would give. And also, have fun with it. I think, especially with Tezos, the gas fees are low. You can find works that really aren't that expensive and that are pretty spectacular. So you don't have to make a huge financial commitment to sort of start and dip your toe in. You might get hooked. I did. But, there's a lot of great work to be found that really isn't that pricey, especially when you compare what you would spend, on a painting or a print or something like that. So, I would say just get in there and enjoy and find collectors and artists that you like and see what they're collecting.
Yeah, so basically do your own research, as they say in the NFT space. I think we have a few more minutes for one question from the audience. If anyone is curious about anything, please feel free to raise your hand and shoot a question. Go ahead.
Thank you for the Thank you for the talk. And I would like to ask what do you think about the merging between auction houses and the artists, digital artists? And I would like to know about your thoughts. So it's gonna be like artists will be continuing to adapt themselves and the auction houses during the time, or is it just like a balloon, or you understand what I mean?
I'm not sure I understand the question. I know you want me to speak about digital artists or NFT artists and the connection with auction houses, but I didn't understand sort of the sub-question.
Yeah, we hear a lot about the digital artists now selling their NFTs through auction houses like Banksy or like people. So how do you think about the future of this merging?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense that the auction houses have, I think, gotten involved in digital art and NFTs sooner than, say, museums, right? Because the auction houses are for profit and they see an opportunity here. It's a big market. And I think for the artists, it is an opportunity for them if they sell work at, Sotheby's or Christie's or whatever, these major auction houses, to get even more visibility, right? Especially visibility with collectors who are currently just sort of traditional art world collectors who collect, paintings and sculptures. If they show at Christie's or Sotheby's and are in a big sale, that just gets a lot more eyeballs on their work. So I can see it being very, beneficial to the artists and to the, to the community as well, gaining that sort of seal of approval from an auction house saying, oh, this is a legitimate art practice, this is something that's interesting, something that should command a high price, is actually, I think, beneficial to all, artists who are producing work on the blockchain. I think it lends, that sort of credibility to it. And I think, it's obviously up to each individual artist how they want to handle that. I mean, I think some artists, maybe are opposed to it and wouldn't want to sell their art at auction and prefer to, stay on the blockchain and do it through the sort of more traditional marketplaces or whatever. Some artists use it as an opportunity to both sell the NFT at auction and maybe, accompany it with a print version of the work. So there are lots of different ways to do it. I think that, in my view, anything that brings more credibility and puts a spotlight on the talent in this space is a good thing. And, I think museums and traditional, brick and mortar galleries are catching on as well slowly. The auction houses are just, I think, the first ones in that more traditional art world to do so. So, yeah, I see a lot of potential there, but I also realize that not all artists, it's not, A, that's not going to be an opportunity that all artists have, and B, some artists who have the opportunity may not want it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your question. And thank you, Danielle, for the great chat. Our time is up, but thank you everyone for joining and listening in. This was Danielle King from ClubNFT. Feel free to check it out. If you collect, feel free to check out their service to secure your NFT assets. And I'm Maryna Rybakova from Mokta, Special Projects, and Artisfact.com. So feel free to check out Mokta and my own project as well. And thank you so much. Have a nice afternoon, everyone.
Thank you for having me. Bye, everybody.